Welcome to Authentic with Brazil 201. I'm your host, Brazil 201. And on today's episode, we're doing a political episode, something I haven't done for a while because we've just had so much movies and TV shows. But I'm not going to do the Iran shit with Trump. Whatever, it's war. It's not a war. Obviously, it's a war. Yay, gas prices is $5 a gallon and all the other stupid that comes with the Trump stuff. But we're going to do some Democratic discourse because, of course, Democrats are always in disarray. And our latest issue that seems to be making the rounds is the Hasan Piker discourse and how big does a big tent need to be? And the third way has this whole thing is that Democrats shouldn't be campaigning with Hasan Piker and all this other shit. And here's the deal, I do not like Hasan Piker, I never did, and this is even pre, like, October 7th, and there is so many levels to this discourse that we have to do because I think there's some I don't first of all, I don't let's go through this. First, no 2028 Democrat, and I also don't think a 2028 Republican post-Trump, outside if unless it's Rubio who's the nominee, quote unquote, like pro-Israel candidate is going to win their primaries in either party. The electoral data has showed, first of all, under 40 for both parties. Israel is well, on Democrats, is like anti-Israel or disapproval of Israel is 80-20. The same percentage of like men and women's sports and DEI, affirmative action, all the policies that cost, Democrats the elections in 2024, right? On the Republican side, the under 40 is also becoming increasingly anti-Israel, or in their way, it's more like American first. And I think there has to be so much nuance to this thing that, first of all, not all Jewish people are from Israel. I don't understand where this is coming from, that suddenly all Jews are representative of Israel. That is like saying all Black people are representative of Africa or all white people are representative of, like, Ireland. That is just nonsense. You can critique Israel, and that is not anti-Semitism. What is anti-Semitism is when you attack a synagogue because you think some random synagogue is associated with Israel. Do you see the difference here? Okay. And by the way, I think both parties are going to have to realize America first is a popular position. And the woke people are like, America first has Nazi ties to this or whatever. Shut up, because there's no other way to explain the fact that America shouldn't be funding any foreign country, whether it's Israel or Ukraine or Taiwan or whatever bullshit, right? Nobody wants to fund foreign countries anymore. Okay. The Iran situation is a great example of this. People don't want to fund the rebuilding of Palestine or the rebuilding of Iran after, like, Trump nukes it or whatever in 3 weeks or whatever nonsense is going to happen in regards to that. But the Hasan Piker discourse, because Hasan Piker has said a lot of things, and I don't honestly, with the issue with AI, I have no idea what is real or what's not. I don't care for Hasan Piker because I always viewed him as one of these avatars of, like, the more woke things because I can separate, like, a version of Medicare for all or Medicare for all, like those positions from, like, the annoying cultural left positions, like, men and women's sports, pronoun check-ins, all the other, woke, bullshit that people hate. So, right, we can do that, and look, and all, various factions of the Democratic Party hate each other because you have I think a good example of this is, like, the Plattner Janet Mills situation up in Maine. Is the issue is that since Trump came onto the scene in 2015 nationally, a lot of the resistant libs and woke left libs, because they are different people, but when I say woke left, think of shaved head, vegan, septum piercing, green hair, pronoun check-in person, and resistant lib is like, "Biden shoulda never dropped out, Biden coulda won," or "Kamala the election was stolen from Kamala," and all those types of idiots, but they both shout the same things for same stupid reasons. Right? And those people constantly are what's a good way to say it? Are constantly wrong about a lot of stupid things. There are people who believe Joe Biden could have won the '24 election. They are also the same idiots that believe a woman could win in 2028. And before listen, the Democratic Party built a party around identity politics. They enforced it, and now the second that now that it stopped working, it's a calculation instead of conviction, and voters can see through it. And Kamala is, like, the clearest, like, embodiment of the framework that the Democratic Party built of identity politics, and this kinda what happens when that framework runs into reality. I mean, look, Joe Biden publicly committed to selecting a woman as his running mate before he had interviewed a single candidate. That was key identity politics, and then he does the same thing with the Supreme Court justice, "I'm going to pick a black woman," before interviewing any candidate. You see, that is what identity politics is when you're just automatically casting aside large swaths of it to fulfill, once again, an identity politics situation. This is also, by the way, Al Sharpton is doing something stupid. He wants Democratic candidates to focus on DEI. He's like, "I wanna know how they'll deal with the government agencies and blah, blah, blah." By the way, DEI, 80% disapproval. Like affirmative action, people didn't like it. People are glad that it's no longer used for a college admission basis, and the only people who are entrenched to this are people who still think, like, South Carolina should go first, and Jim Clyburn can go fuck himself, and I hope whoever wins the South Carolina primary gerrymanders his district out of existence, and since the VRA is gonna get struck down in June, the whole minority racial-based districts are all going to disappear across the country. So, that is a key thing. I know I'm kinda going on a tangent here, but I wanna go back to what, like, Hassan represents. Hassan, I get it. Pre-24 Democrats were so cringy that because this is something like even the pod safe movers admitted. Like, you weren't allowed to go on Barstool because they said the word restart and they weren't okay with men and women's sports. By the way, 80/20 issues. The Theo Von and Rogan thing, who, by the way, both have larger platforms than Kamala Harris. And I know the Rachel Mom resistance resistant libs don't like to admit that, but hey, old women over 60. I don't know if you know this, but more people listen to an episode of Rogan than MSNBC or whatever the fuck it's called now get viewers in a month, okay? Same for Theo Vaughn, same for the Flanger guys. And then, you know what's funny is like the resist libs attacking them because they kind of regret their vote for Trump and all the other shit. And this is exactly why. It's the idiots who are like, it's not my job to educate you or shun people because they said retard or they laugh at the land acknowledgments and the pronoun check-ins, shit that most Americans don't agree with. But listen, I get it. You know, ugly shaved head vegans are, obsessed with this. And why am I going back to this? The Hassan part. Okay. I think this nonce there's a lot of left to this. Where was I going with this? I forgot. There's like the Israel shit. Yeah, okay. Hassan's thing is that even before October 7th, Hassan was like anti-Israel or whatever, because I guess Hassan is Muslim or some shit. I don't know. Whatever. And the discourse and the AIPAC situation, right? Everyone hates AIPAC, and AIPAC back candidates are going to lose their fucking elections unless they're in like a 70% Jewish district, like that one dude in New York is in. Okay, because AIPAC is meddling in elections, and nobody really likes the fuck they're doing because AIPAC thinks if you even critique Israel at all, you are not allowed to win an election. And I don't know why no one is okay with this nonsense that Israel's not the 51st state of America, okay? You are allowed to critique Israel, and that is very valid. You can be like, "I don't wanna fund Israel anymore," also popular position, but this idea that I think Hassan goes to even some stupider nonsense is like, if a person visits Israel, they're a bad person or some bullshit, which this is why, like, you can't take, like, Hassan seriously, but there's a lotta people in the Democratic apparatus who should not be taken seriously at all. There's like that 300-pound woman, what the fuck, Olivia, whatever, who like doesn't believe in like Wegovy or fucking Ozempic. There's the fucking beta cuck DNC factory guy, Harry Sison. There's the other fat fuck that wears a panda costume that is like peak woke. That is like everyone, fat is beautiful and all the other stupid shit. All idiots. Okay? And this nonsense is like, you listen, I'm fine. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to compare me to Hasan Piker, but this idea that people shouldn't go on Hasan Piker's show, the whole purpose is Democrats need to go everywhere because Democrats are only in the most cringy elite institutions place. I'm sorry, but only losers are listening to NPR or Ezra Klein or going to fucking DNC fundraisers or whatever that stupid shit the pod save losers tried to do. They tried to create like the left wing version of like TPUSA. And TPUSA apparently is like a disaster now post Charlie Kirk. but they have to go to places because I don't know if you know this, but no one under fucking 40 is going to watch MSNBC or CNN or, the other nonsense, and you get then you get the voices like, fucking and the boy JVL fucking hates the average American voter so much. He thinks they're idiots, they shouldn't vote. He's mad at everyone that has been brought into politics because of fucking Trump and Rogan and Schultz and Theo Von and that they're wrong and blah, 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 and honestly, JVL can go, like, fuck himself for that stupid shit. Because he is just the centrist version of the snobby woke person. Like, he's not woke, but the same, like, annoying, snobby, like, elitism that I am better than the average person, and the average person is wrong, and what they want is wrong, and blah, 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 blah. Look, you can ignore Hasan Piker. You don't have to, like, fucking tolerate him. But what you can ignore is you shouldn't be, like, ignoring what Rogan wants, what Theo Von wants, the breaking points people like, the Michigan primary is gonna be the Senate primary is a great example because you have the 3 factions of the Democratic Party, like, fighting each other right now. You have your ugly toad establishment shill who's, like, funded by AIPAC, Haley Steven. You have a beautiful hot white girl, Mallory Moro, who's, like, left of center, very fucking progressive and anything critical of Israel and all the other shit and hot. And then you have, like, the fucking annoying left-wing culture woke candidate, Abdullah Saeed. Thankfully, Polymarket says Mallory is gonna win. Hopefully, Mallory does win, but that Michigan primary is going to be far more toxic than the Texas primary. And the Texas primary was the identity politics versus, electability argument in the primary because everyone's like, "Yeah, Jasmine Crockett can't win." Okay, right? And, like, the election results, like, showed it, like, racially breakdown. Yeah, Jasmine Crockett got 93% of the black vote, but did not hit 20 with anyone who was not black. Meanwhile, Calorico was over 55% with everybody who wasn't black. Okay, so this is the thing, and there's too many issues within the Democratic Party of the groups and the identity politics nonsense, and the core changing is that it should be class-based first, not, you know, racial individuals need because, the Trump election showed that, racial is not linked to their politics anymore. Everyone cares about individually what's going to happen to them. And you kinda gotta get used to it. I don't care for Hasan Piker, I think he's an idiot, but the I y should candidates campaign with him? No, but if a candidate campaigns with him, I understand what type of candidate they are, and they're more of the annoying little cringe guy, okay? In the same way, if a candidate fucking, who's a good example of this on the other side, fucking campaigns with, like, Al Sharpton, I know they're fucking annoying, or if a candidate, who else is a good example of this, like a cringe type of person? I don't know, I guess a lot of the outside, like, Ossoff and Shapiro, and I guess Ro Khanna, I don't think any of the candidates truly believe in any of the things they say at all. Because like, Gavin Newsom keeps whiff-walking on what he, like, wants to say or what he believes. He has no, like, actual individualism on what he believes, and obviously, a woman can't win because the whole, here and people get mad at this, but I don't care. A woman can't win the Democratic primary. Because a woman winning just says, like, of course, the Democratic Party hates men unless they're soy boy cucks. But a Republican woman winning is like, "Oh, she earned it. She's strong. It was a fair competition." Versus on the Democratic side is like they shoved her down her throat. Like, God forbid Kamala somehow, gets rid of her word salad problem and wins. Congratulations to whatever the fucking 2028 Republican candidate is there. But look, a woman can't win. I will say that. I don't care if you say it's misogyny. Michelle Obama said it. Everyone believes it outside the resistant wine moms. There you go. The whole thing is believe in yourself. Be authentic to who you are and what you believe, and people will follow it. It's why, like, Zoran was able to win. Zoran's true, like, ideological thing is, like, he's apparently, like, flexible in everything, but his, like, love for Palestine is, like, the only thing he's, like, truly believes in. And I guess, like, some version of affordability. Whatever. Or I don't know. But yeah, that's it.